One of the biggest stories in the aftermath of May's storm was the firing of CEMA Director Sarah Russell, and we can now be the first to report leaders have selected Greg Favre as the city's next emergency management director. An official announcement is expected tomorrow. Favre, a lifelong St. Louis City resident, has 25 years of experience in emergency management. He previously served as the deputy director and chief of operations for the Missouri Department of Public Safety, and most recently worked in the intelligence community, focused on international terrorism and crime. And as we mentioned, he replaces Sarah Russell, who became embattled after May's storm. Russell was originally put on leave just days after the tornado because outdoor warning sirens were not sounded. As we previously reported this summer, her firing came after a report from a third party concluded the failures in the city's response were preventable, citing a lack of clear policy and communication issues.